We begin with a cheering news where the Bishop of Kontagora Diocese and proprietor of St. Mary's private Catholic primary school and secondary school, Most Reverend Bulus Yohanna, has confirmed the release of abducted school children and their teachers. Now, according to the bishop, Governor Umaru Bago personally called him to convey the good news to their release. Yohanna disclosed that the released students and teachers were expected to arrive in Minna on Monday, where they would be formally received by the governor at the government house. The confirmation was contained in a brief statement issued by the media aide to the Bishop of Kontagora Diocese, Dan Atori. The federal government on Sunday said it secured the release of 130 kidnapped school children whisked away by gunmen from the school. The presidential spokesman, Sunday Dari, announced this on his official X handle on Sunday. Now, News Central's Sagir Ibrahim is on standby for more updates on this. Sagir Ibrahim, thank you for following this story. I would just like to find out, can you confirm that indeed these school children have been released and the government house is waiting to receive them?
I would start by saying, first of all, Christmas came early for the parents and, of course, for the children and, of course, for the government of Niger State, which will today be handing over these children to their parents upon the abduction. Exactly 30 days after they were abducted on the 21st of November, on the 21st of December, it was announced by the Nigerian government that indeed 130 of them have finally been released, or at least their release has been secured by the government. As at this moment, we've not seen any signs of them. However, we've gotten confirmation that the governor will be here any moment from now to carry out the handover ceremony. I'm standing in front of the council chambers of the Niger State government. The governor is expected to receive the students at this point before, they arrange or gather themselves at the marquee that you can see by this side. This is supposed to be the receiving point for those parents who, for the longest time over the course of 30 days, have had to bear the anguish and the agony of having lost their children to the hands of captors and the hands of, armed assailants and bandits. Blessings. It's also important to note that this event, the abduction of over 300 students from the St. Mary's Catholic School in Papiri Agwara, local government of Niger State, has been the single largest attack on a soft target, cutting away of over 300 pupils and also teachers. But it's really, really refreshing and it's really consoling, in fact, to note today that the rest of them, according to the government, which stated that not a single one of them is in captivity anymore, will be handed over to their parents later in the day. Back to you, Blessings.
All right, Sagir, we would also like to find out what details have the state government provided on how the release was secured. And this is a very important question because people have been asking this same question regarding every, release. It's not like we're not excited that the children were released. But again, it's radio silence. How were these children released? How was the release secured?
Well, that's $1 million question, Blessings, and that's the question that has been on the lips and the minds of many of us who are here with the intention to cover the release, and of course many of those who have been watching keenly and of course with concerns as to the increased case of abduction that we saw towards the end of the year 2025. As at this time, we've not gotten exact details as to how the release was secured. At this point, I would say for those parents who unfortunately lost their children to captors earlier in the in November, for them the joy is that they would be reuniting and reconnecting with their children today. Of course, much of how the release was done is not a concern to them so long as they can reconnect with their children. But of course, the government had mentioned something around a military operation or a military sort of activity that led, to that happening. But of course, security experts, security analysts continue to maintain that there had to be some sort of back-channel negotiation. That, of course, at this moment cannot be confirmed. We also wait to see what the government is going to be saying with regards to how these releases were secured. But for right now, what we can tell you categorically is the government is relieved that all of the students have now left the hands of their captors. They are now in the safe hands of the government, and hopefully today we will, definitely be watching them handed over to their parents and of course their family members and loved ones. Blessings. You would recall that the abduction of these children on the 21st of November had triggered the federal government to announce the closure of 47 unity schools across the northwest and, of course, northeast region. News Central was there across these different schools to observe the closure of the school as it went. If you missed it for any reason, my viewers, this is the reason why you should watch News Central the more. And of course, we are here right now in Niger State to cover the official handover of these children to their family members. We are here waiting, hoping for the arrival of the governor. When that is done, we definitely will be coming up live to show the visuals of these children and of course the ecstatic feeling of their parents to see them reconnect and reunite with their children. But up until then, the waiting game continues, and it's back to you. Blessings.
Most definitely. I really like the passion with which you speak, Sagir Ibrahim, especially about News Central's coverage, because definitely News Central is keeping you abreast of the situation. And of course, Sagir Ibrahim is live in Niger State to give us more updates, and we'll definitely relay that to you as it unfolds.